Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Choppin' It Up Braves podcast. Once again, I am Aaron. It is currently August 1st, the day after the trade deadline. Um, I posted a video about this earlier. If I would have put this deadline in one word, I would say just straight up disappointing. Um, I'm not thrilled with how it went, obviously. We didn't really do anything. We didn't trade away any pieces. We didn't get any pieces. Um, except for that little Rafael Montero trade where we got Jim Jarvis out of that, which honestly, not a bad trade in my opinion. We're kind of lucky to get anything for Montero, who's a guy who obviously just hasn't really been playing that great this year on an expensive contract, and we get good organizational depth with Jim Jarvis, but not trading Ozuna or not trading Iglesias, Bummer, Johnson, any of those guys who have been playing well. Even Dylan Lee, honestly, I would have been open with trading Dylan Lee. Just kind of try to get any value out of those relievers, if you can, because obviously the reliever market kind of went crazy yesterday. Obviously Mason Miller got traded for Leo DeVries. I might get into some of the other, non-Braves moves later on in the episode. But yeah, overall, I'm just very disappointed in this deadline. I feel like Alex Anthopoulos has really never had to sell before. And you can call me wrong. I feel like he kind of didn't know how to do it. I think his ego kind of got to him a little bit. I think what he's thinking is, I can't really accept that this team isn't going to be great this year and that we have to get pieces for next year and the future. Like people who can play, who are controllable, and who can like actually make a difference this year. Except for Iglesias, who has been better recently, but still not great overall this year. And a few quotes from yesterday's press conference with Alex Anthopoulos kind of stood out to me. He said. He never even approached Marcell Ozuna about a trade that was imminent or could have gone down, which I kind of find confusing because he also kind of said that there wasn't really a market for Iglesias or Ozuna. Um, but I don't know how a guy like Iglesias, who's been pitching with a mid two ERA his last the last like couple like month or two of the season. And although Ozuna has fallen off a little bit, he hit the two home runs in Kansas City. Um, he's been playing better as of late when he actually is playing, which isn't a ton anymore. Um, but I mean, in my mind, there had to have been a market for Marcell Ozuna or Raisel Iglesias or any of those guys that I was talking about earlier, especially once again with how the reliever market played out yesterday. So that's kind of my take on the deadline. I mean, it's probably I mean, I've only been a pretty big Braves fan for 4 years at this point. I really got into like 2021. Um, and this deadline was very uneventful. Just nothing really happened. We got Jim Jarvis. We got Taylor Kearney, I think his name is. Um, I know it looked like a casual. But just not, yeah, once again, it's not the deadline you really want from a team that can win next year, but is completely done this year and has multiple players on expiring contracts, and we're going to get no value for them, um, in the coming years, unless if we sign them back, which I don't really anticipate us signing Ozuna back or Iglesias pretty much. I can see us signing back Aaron Bummer and Pierce Johnson, guys like that. Um, going back to kind of what I said last episode, I don't get how this team, how you're Alex Anthopoulos and you're sitting there and you're thinking this year's just an off year. Snicker's going to retire at the end of the year, and all the problems will be fixed. That's not going to happen. It's just not something that's just going to fix itself. Um, I don't plan on us being this bad next year. It's kind of hard to get this bad with the roster that the Braves have. But I'm just worried that, we didn't do anything to boost the team for the future, didn't do anything to get value out of the players that are expiring this year, and just didn't really help ourselves. Well, every other team around us got better, especially, the Phillies and Mets, who got a lot of great pieces during the deadline. So I guess I'll touch a little bit on the overall deadline that happened this or yesterday. Very eventful. Obviously, Mason Miller, um, dealt for Leo DeVries and a few of the Padres' other, top 30 prospects. It is one of the most confusing trades I've ever seen because I think it's a pretty bad trade for the uh, Padres, pretty much. You trade away Leo DeVries, who's a five-tool player, above average in all five categories according to the prospect list. And it's just like, what brings you to, get Mason Miller, who's obviously under team control for 5 years, who's one of the best young relievers in the game. But at what point do you say is this maybe a little too much? Obviously Leo DeVries, third best prospect in baseball according to MLB Pipeline. And yeah, I mean that's just really all I have to say about it. It's just one of the most confusing trades, and I just don't think a closer is worth a five-tool 18-year-old who's in high A and probably gonna get to double A soon. Um, yeah, it's just a very confusing move to me in the grand scheme of things. And then also, the Padres made a ton of other moves yesterday, pretty much decimating their farm system, kind of like the Braves did a few off seasons ago, where they kind of just traded away everybody, Soderstrom, guys like that. So yeah, like Shea Langoliers, all those guys, Christian Pache, but who cares about him anymore? So yeah, that's really my take about the Padres. Obviously, they have a good player development system in the minors, but it gets to a point where you got to think, are we going to get a prospect as good as Leo DeVries in the next 3 to 5 years when Manny Machado is probably going to be gone? Xander Bogarts is kind of already washed, but is going to be even more washed at that point, and you're going to have no guys to fill his spot anymore. I had to assume that was their plan for Xander Bogarts to fill that spot, or when Ha-Seong Kim was there before they let him walk. So yeah, I mean, as a Braves fan, I've kind of seen how decimating your farm system can hurt you. The Braves have had one of the worst farm systems in the league for the last 3 years now at this point, ever since we, traded away our farm system for Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, um, guys, pretty much everybody that we got in a trade in the last 3 years. We've just completely wrecked our farm system with those guys. And I think the A's strictly because of that had a great deadline. Uh, it's not every day you see a 18-year-old five-tool guy who does everything above average, like I said in high A already. So I'm not gonna get too deep into that because not an A's fan. Um, so moving past the trade deadline, we did have um a game yesterday and today. Just want to go over those really quick. Obviously, yesterday, pretty thrilling game. I watched it. Um, 12-11. Both teams scored 8 runs in the eighth inning and ended up going to extras. And a lot of the guys played great. Ozzy Albies had a 4-hit game. I can't tell you the last time that happened. Sean Murphy 3 walks and a hit. Michael Harris with 2 hits and a strikeout as always. Only guy to go hitless on the Braves was Nick Allen and Jerickson Profar. Profar went 0 for 6 in the game, dropping his average down to 233 for the season. But yeah, I mean, I will say I was impressed by Carlos Carrasco. 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks. Very solid outing for your first game as Brave. Tyler Kinley, by the way, is the name. I'm sorry. I butchered that earlier. But we offense played great. Pitching was good until Dane Dunning came into the game pretty much and wrecked our lead. And then Dylan Lee came after, who's just had a really rough month recently. I think that probably dipped his value a lot in the trade market yesterday. And then Iglesias comes in for the save, quick seven pitch save for Iglesias. And then moving to today, today was a very infuriating game to watch. Ended up losing 3-2. Bryce Elder pitched one of his better games of the season. Uh, through 5.2, I believe, and then um, after he came out, guys allowed a few earned runs with Will Benson, um, and everything like that happening. So yeah, Bryce Elder 6.2 pitched, two earned runs, 5 Ks, 83 pitches. I'm surprised we didn't keep him in longer, probably because there guys were getting on base a lot. Um, just not a great hitting day, obviously. Not what you want for this Braves team, who at this point I feel nothing when we lose pretty much since we're so bad. Um, but a loss could never hurt anybody. But I just want to talk about something here really quick that I have down in my notes. Over the last 10 games, Michael Harris is hitting 463 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. He's playing out of his mind right now, and I could not be happier for him. He was slumping pretty much the entire first half of the season, up until we got out of the All Star break, pretty much. And after we got out of the All Star break, he just kind of found out how to hit. Simple as that. I believe his stance changed back to what it was his first 2 years, or at least his rookie year, when he obviously won Rookie of the Year, batted 290, hit like 25 home runs or like 16 home runs. Um, and was just a great player those years. And I think the hitting in general recently has been really solid. Ozzy has been playing a lot better recently. Sean Murphy is kind of cooled off a little bit, but he's still hitting home runs. Drake Baldwin's been playing better. Talked about it already. Ozuna's hitting better, hitting home runs. Um, but there's still the guys that are struggling, like Profar. He's been he was really good for the first like week after he came back, and then ever since he's just kind of been, like going down and down and down and down ever since then. Hasn't hit a home run in a long time. I don't think, at least. I don't remember him hitting a home run. Um, but I think the main problem recently for the Braves has been on the pitching side. Once again, going back to the last 10 games, the entire Braves pitching staff has a 6.83 ERA over the last 10 games, aka 94 runs in 87 innings. Um, obviously the pitching rotation is gutted right now. We don't have anybody. We have Strider and Elder. I believe those are the only guys that were even on the team and maybe in the majors um, at the start of the season. And then, we've just kind of added Carrasco, Wentz, um, Eric Fetty, over time since those guys have been getting hurt. But, especially the bullpen has been really rough recently. Once again, Dylan Lee's had a really rough month. Iglesias has been better, and then we've kind of just picked up a few guys who aren't, you know, playing well. I'm happy we DFA De Los Santos. I'm happy we traded Montero. I think those guys were, they're obviously really bad for the majority of the season, except for De Los Santos. He's just been really rough for the past like month or two. Had like a 7 ERA um, for a good while. Um, so that's really my main problem. We didn't do anything except for, once again, get Jim Jarvis. We didn't really get any starting pitching help that we could have needed. You know, Eric Fetty didn't pitch very well in his debut, and I think we could have easily filled that spot and on the during the deadline, and went out and got a guy who has a 4.5 ERA instead of whatever Eric Fetty has. He has like a 6 or something, I think. And Marcus Stroman got DFA'd today, obviously. I don't want him. I've seen a lot of Braves players or Braves fans on Twitter, on Instagram saying, let's go get Marcus Stroman. He's bad. He's bad for the locker room. He's going to cost a lot of money, even though he's bad. and I think that'd just be not a great move for the Braves to make, especially during this time where where ownership and Anthopoulos are so unwilling to spend money, which is something we haven't really seen in a good minute with this team. So looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Speedway Classic. I'm excited to watch it. Very exciting pitching match. Spencer Strider versus Chase Burns. Uh, Two flamethrowers, I guess you'd call it. Strider, not as much anymore, but I think you'll find it eventually. Um, yeah, so Strider versus Chase Burns, exciting. I'm excited to watch it. Gonna break the MLB attendance record. So, good for MLB, good for the Braves, good for the Reds. I just really wish Acuna was playing in this game. I'm sure a lot of people are traveling to go or bought tickets to go see Acuna play against the Reds and Chase Burns, but obviously we tested that Achilles, and when you test something with an injury-prone player, bad things are gonna happen. So it's a shame he won't be able to play in that game, but I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see what comes out of it, see the crowd. And yeah, a little short episode today. Just kind of wanted to go over the deadline, what I thought about it, and that'll pretty much be it. So probably see you guys after this Red series and maybe after the next, unless if any Braves news comes out that I want/need to talk about um, on the podcast. So I will see you guys then.